On to step 3, the earnings model. So the earnings model is broken up into two parts. The current status of the company, which is the earnings per share divided by the required return, and then the present value of the future growth, so PV growth opportunities, PVGO. Now the problem is that if you look at the formula for PVGO, the reinvestment of earnings multiplied by the return on equity divided by the required return minus 1 divided by required return minus the company growth. The company growth can be larger than the required return, making the required return not really a valid number. And if it does that, this whole thing goes negative, which doesn't really make sense. If the company is growing so well, it's not negative growth, but it's mathematically, it no longer becomes relevant. In my case, this is what's happening. It might be in yours. And so I'm going to split these two numbers up, and then I'm also going to add them together just in case that it is working. So let's do that. So the first table is the current status table. So let's go back to our spreadsheet, and to make a new one, new sheet, Shift F11, F6 to go down there, menu R and EM for the earnings model, and then for cell and enter. Then the current status, and I'm going to make it wide enough, Alt HOI, and there I need the earnings per share, the EPS, and I need the K, the required return. So the EPS, I can get that from MarketWatch on the Overview tab. And so that's right up here. I'm already on there. And here it is, 7.49. I'm just going to copy that. F2, Control V, Enter. And the required return, I got that from the DDM page. It's right here in B14. And then I can figure out the current status equal the EPS divided by the required return. And I'm going to Control Shift 1 it. And look, that number, 83.46. If you look at MarketWatch, go up, it's 85.95. Very close with that. But now the PVGO, present value of the growth opportunities, that formula is the RE, the reinvested earnings, and the return on equity, the ROE, and then the company growth, the GC. And this big formula is how we add it all together. RE times ROE over return on reinvested earnings multiplied by the return on equity divided by the required return minus 1, all divided by the required return minus the company's growth. So let's start by getting the RE. And that is the EPS minus, when I say D1, that's a common, D0 is the most recent one. D1 is the future one. So in our case, because it's 2023 has not finished yet, 2023 is considered the future. The last whole year's data that we have is 2022. So, and we have that from the DDM sheet. So we're going to go equal the EPS, and I think it's minus, yeah, minus, I'm going to go Control page down to the D1, the 2023 dividend. Good, RE. And so the next one we want is return on equity, and that's in the Yahoo Finance on the Statistics tab in the Management Effectiveness table. So I still have a Yahoo open, but I can go to the Statistics tab, and here's the Management Effectiveness, return on equity, and it's 16.66% in my case. So ROE, and then I'm going to F2 it, Control V, Enter. And then the next one I'm going to get is the company growth rate, the growth rate for the company, GC. I put a C on it because I want to differentiate that from the growth rate of the dividends. And the growth rate of the company is determined by the return on equity multiplied 1 minus the future projected dividend divided by the earnings per share. Equal ROE multiplied by 1 minus the D1, which control page down, 2023, divided by, control page up, the EPS. And then close bracket. And I'm going to make that a percentage, so shift control %, and then control 1, tab, 2 decimal places. So now I can calculate the PVGO. So just remind you, RE times ROE over K minus 1 divided by K minus GC. So equals ROE, and then multiplied by, in brackets, the the RE, just going to escape that, equals the RE multiplied by, in brackets, the ROE divided by K minus 1, close brackets, divide by, and I'm going to put the denominator in brackets, because otherwise it would just divide it by K, and the whole thing would be minus GC. And I don't want that. I want the K minus GC to be all together. So I'm going to put in brackets the required return, K, minus the company growth, GC. Enter. Yeah, see how big it is? I'm going to go Control-Shift-1 just to make it 2 decimal places. So now when I go earnings model, I'm just going to go earnings model all, the whole thing, equal. It's the sum of the current status plus the PVGO. So yeah, negative 42.17 doesn't make sense. So there, I'm just going to save my work.